Hello, everybody. This is Larry Hernandez, and this is Everything Recruiting. In this video, I'm going to go over a few techniques and concepts that hopefully will change the way you think about sending emails to potential candidates forever. So let's get started. So the first concept that I came across accidentally when I was studying marketing was the different stages that individuals go through before they make a decision buying something or moving or taking a job, whatever it may be. And the reason this is important, I'll show you here in a second. So the first of the four stages is awareness. And right here you can see a sample buyer is saying, hey, my head hurts. I want to feel better, but what's wrong with me, right? So this, if you translate this to a candidate scenario, even a recruiter, you could say, man, I've been bummed out. I've been stressed out. I don't feel like I'm contributing, whatever it may be. You start to feel some symptoms of a problem, right? And then you'd move over to the consideration stage. And keep in mind, you can be in this stage for a day. You can be in this stage for 3 years, okay? We don't know that. Now, the next stage is consideration. So you're aware that something isn't right. You're feeling some symptoms. So now maybe you Google or you start asking your circle of friends and family, I've been having these headaches and what? Have you ever had these headaches? What do you do? Or you Google having headaches, right? What about a recruiter or a candidate? It's kind of like, you know what? I've been here for a while. Things haven't changed, whatever it may be. Think of translating this into the recruiting world. And then we move, same thing, by the way, we don't know if you're going to be in this for a day, an hour, or 5 years, right? And then go to the decision stage. So now you're moving down, you're real close to taking action, but you're still thinking, okay, I understand I'm not happy at this company. I'm not happy in this team. I'm not happy servicing this product, whatever a candidate may think. And you started to define it a little bit. Like, is this normal? How do you feel as you talk to your peers? And then you move down to the decision stage. Okay, what are my options? Well, I could talk to my boss. I could, talk to my boss's boss. I could, whatever it may be, make a case, try to transfer, whatever it is you're trying to solve. And then the action, you're actually taking action. So now it's like, I've set up a meeting with my boss. I've typed up an email. You actually took action, right? The reason it is important to know this is because, well, number one, we're sourcers and recruiters and talent acquisition, professionals. We just, we weren't taught any of this, and we don't have a lot of the internal tools. We just know that we have a rec or a talent pool or an event or some kind of urgency, and it's about us, right? And I need to do this. I need to have some great candidates for my hiring team. I need to fill my funnel for the report. I need to fill these positions, right? So what do? We source and we spend all this time, all these tools getting really good candidates, and then we send out an email. Or we send out a text, usually to a group of people. We send out a bunch of in-mails in LinkedIn or LinkedIn Recruiter. And we don't have the time or the capabilities to worry about all this. But if you were a professional marketer, or if you had your own company as a professional recruiter and you're, making your living on each hire, it would be good to understand this because you've been there. I'm in the tech industry, but now it could be, you could be in the health care recruiting, or you can be whatever it may be. We get some feedback about that spam or, whatever it may be. And we don't really know why. Golly, why do candidates act like that? Well, how do you act when you get texts saying, we have health insurance, or, switch your carrier. This is Verizon. What you get these texts, you get these emails and these phone calls, potential spam. And you're just like, how did you get my information? I don't know who you are. And why are you, sending me stuff? It's spam. Okay. And we are like, golly, I'm just trying to get you a job. Well, technically it is spam So if we can start to align our emails, our voicemails, our texts, what we share on social media, if we can take a step back and say, now, wait a minute, I do not know what stage they are in, because by the way, each stage that you are in, let me show you this over here real quick. And this is I'm taking this from HubSpot's inbound marketing methodology and kind of make it into inbound recruiting. And I won't go into this. This is a whole other world, but I'm just going to kind of give you the highlights. At every stage, you are going to be looking and doing different things. So if you Google something, that is a direct reflection of what you're thinking, right? So why does that matter? If everything you're doing is sharing on social media and your email messages are something like, and this is an exercise we can do when you sign up for the free class, but just imagine all of us logged in on this software and every one of you having a different color stickies and me giving you, 10 minutes to start writing real-time stickies of what your messages are. Think about the last 90 days. What are the posts you've done on LinkedIn, if any? What are the posts on Facebook or Twitter, if any, or Instagram? And then what are the subject lines and what is your content about when you send an email or a text? And we get things like, hey, are you looking? Okay, sign up, take this assessment, talk to the hiring manager. Hey, you want to jump on a video call so we can do a quick assessment? Hey, register for our event, click this link. Hey, review this job, fill out this friggin' 20-minute application. Who do you know who's looking? If you're not looking, who do you know? Let's schedule a phone screen, watch our video on our culture. And if we start dragging these stickies to where do you think, where are we aligning ourselves? We're over here, all these take action. Well, people aren't ready to take action until they're over here. So if I call you right now telling you that, I've got these amazing left-handed scissors and you've got to buy now because I'm going to give you a bulk discount. You're like, what are you talking about? I don't even realize that that's an issue, or I may be your wrong person altogether. And there's going to be a time where that is it's already bad, but it's going to be a time with the laws and the things we're doing is that we're going to get not be able to do that. Heck, already in LinkedIn Recruiter, if your open rates and response rates and reply rates start going down, you get cut off, right? And there's a magical 13% that right around there that LinkedIn Recruiter, boop, says, hey, you're sending out spam, right? Because they've got to take care of both sides. So this is why it's worth understanding this process, right? So now, if you know you're going to be recruiting whatever it is you recruit, senior software engineers that are on this technical stack, well, you know that there's only so many of them in the universe, right? In your universe of interested and qualified and available candidates. We don't have the luxury of just blasting out and, oh, don't worry if I piss off 30% of them, I have a job to do and that's how I make my money. But let me show you why real quick. And I'm going to go over this in more detail, but let's just say you're starting to source, right? And this is let's just say 500 candidates. I've seen some new individuals, over my 20 years of experience, they'll say, hey, I've got a list of candidates, especially when it's easy with software nowadays. You can kind of group them in a project, group them in a folder, and boom, blast out an email. So let's just say you get 500 candidates that are interested, qualified, and available. That's way too many, by the way, for most scenarios. But let's just say I've seen this a lot. And you get a 29% open rate, right? Because we're going to work on being more effective, not necessarily doing more, right? So, and I didn't just make up this number. Your numbers could be better. Most of you aren't even tracking this, but this is a good number to start with for this example. So 29% just even open your email, right? So then that list goes from 500 to 145, right? That's when they talk about that funnel. It's that your numbers are getting smaller. You found candidates. Now, that list being that big, I can almost guarantee you that they're not really, really qualified. So you're already looking for trouble because you haven't transformed that intake requirements to a good sourcing strategy, but hey, you're trying to get your numbers up and you blast it out. 29% open it, right? And then out of that 29%, about 20% actually reply. Now, some of the replies may be, hey, leave me alone, I hate you, or hey, I'm not looking right now. But if they reply, we count that as progress, right? So you get about 20% reply rate. Most of you aren't tracking this. So that leaves us with 17 people, okay? We went from 500 to 145 to 17 pretty quick. And as leaders, as talent acquisition leaders, sourcing team leaders, recruiting managers, you start to understand, no, these numbers aren't right, are they? I don't know. Log into LinkedIn Recruiter, run some of those reports, and you will be surprised, right? And I'm not saying going out and micromanage, because I've been on consulting gigs where they're like, we want to see your subject line and we want to see your content. And I'm going to cover that here in a second. So we've only got 17, and we got to figure out, what are you asking these candidates to do? Is it check out the video, look at our career site? We call that the call to action, right? You should only be asking them to do one thing. And if they don't even know you, it might be, let's talk and let's get to know each other. I don't know anything about you. Let's see what you want to do. But if you're going for the kill and making this transactional, click now, buy now, schedule a call, you're rushing it because it's about you. And so you get about, 17 of those people that actually go to that page, and you're only going to get about, well, let's say 80%. Let's say out of those, I'm going to give you some credibility, and you're going to get 80%. We're only talking about 13 people. So now you got to screen 9 people, because it went 80% of 13 is 9. So now you're jumping on the phone. Let's say you get 75%. You can only submit 3. And it's kind of like compound interest. You're like, whoa, or in this horrible times with the, with the coronavirus, you're like, how does it get to this, right? And as a professional sourcer and recruiting consultant, for lack of a better word, I will sometimes get called in when we're here. We just don't have enough candidates. So we need a sourcer, right? And the first thing we need to do is kind of figure out, all right, what is it? What's the problem here? Now, the second little concept is we aren't always self-aware, right? Especially if you're new in this. And there's a lot of recruiters, we kind of fall into this. It's not like we went to school for this or got some real certification that really helps. We jumped in and they're like, hey, what do I do? Email all these people. What email? Hey, do you remember starting your company when you first started and you're like either pinging someone or on a call, like, is there an email that you guys send to these people? Don't worry about it. Well, that doesn't sound right, but okay. So number one is you got to understand yourself and your style. What is your style? Because there is a high probability that your style of communicating is very different from what we call the target candidate persona. In other words, I'm going to use senior software engineers that match my company's technology stack, and they happen to be in San Francisco, Austin, Texas, right? I'm talking one way, and we're missing each other. So not only do I not know if they're in the right stage, the way I'm talking isn't even right. It's not, we're just missing each other. And that's another reason we get complaints. Like, what are you talking about? And I touched on this earlier. New recruiters, it's happened to me when I'm doing consulting. You get this kind of, someone sees these numbers and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to micromanage. I need to do something. So a leader comes to you and says, okay, let me see, everyone send me your emails that you're sending out. That one's too long. That one's too short. Jazz it up a little bit. Have you ever been in these meetings? I've been in these meetings more than I can count over 20 years. You're in-house. Everyone, let's get into a conference room and let's brainstorm some ideas. The problem is most of us are very similar. We definitely are. It's about us, what we need as a talent acquisition team. We need to fill these 500 positions, right? So we're not putting their best interest, the candidate's best interest. We're talking about us. Sell the company, put a video, make it sizzle, right? And once I found out that there are different types of personalities. And more importantly, that this kind of blew me away, that the different personality types, what's great for you and your manager, like these are some personality tips. There's 4 different major personality styles. So for personality persona A, it's like the do's are, hey, share an interesting story. Speak with a positive, optimistic tone. Display your sense of humor. Engage in small talk. That is a lot of our managers and a lot of recruiters. Not so much traditional sourcers, but recruiters, recruiting managers. They've been in the industry a while. This is them. Jazz it up. Tell a story. Make a connection. They don't know. They've never really measured it, probably. If you have, awesome. But then here are the don'ts for that person. Don't be skeptical or questioning. Don't be boring. Don't be detached or monotone. Start with, never start with a complaint, and skip over, don't ever skip over small talk. So since a lot of us in the industry are like this, that's how we go about writing our messages and talking and really handling our business. And that's the rub when you start recruiting engineers, technical individuals, right? Analytical, accounting, those types, because people tend to gravitate to those professions, and they're different, right? So let's look at another personality style. So here it says here, display your sense of humor, engage in small talk, a little bit of BS, warm them up a little bit. Don't skip over the small talk. And then you have a different personality type that says, don't be casual with your tone. Don't talk too much. They don't like it, right? And there is right there. If you don't know their personality and you walk in being yourself, there's a natural rub. And that explained a lot to me, because I would take it personal, like, that's an ugly email this technical candidate just sent me. And you start looking at what's in your content. Hey, this is a really great opportunity with a really cool company. They don't want to hear things like that because they might be a different personality, right? They want you to be calm, collected, right? They want you to show you did research, right? Be concise, to the point. Don't dress it up. And that was the aha moment. Oh, that's the big deal. I know in IT, or now it's called tech recruiting, is we're usually one way, and the people that we're trying to communicate, they can communicate a different way. So I'm not trying to tell you to lie or be different, but you need to figure out all your candidate personas and change your email and your outreach to fit. So if I have one message, then I could make 4 different templates, trying to tease out and talk the way my candidates want to talk about, right? And then I'm going to, let me just move over here. I'm also going to change my content. All right. I'm also going to change my content and make 1, 2, 3, 4 different topics. Okay. So I'm not just going to always be asking, apply here, we'll give you whatever it may be. Stop just talking about action. Don't just post something that says, we're hiring, we're looking, we're hiring, we're looking, we're top rated, because you're just assuming everyone's over here. And forget about this passive versus active. It's not that easy. It's not just on or off. It's okay. So now I know I'm going to be supporting this team, this team, and this team, and I'm going to be with this company. So go to the blogs, go to the YouTube channels, find them and start teasing out this type of content, white papers, patents, make it interesting. It's probably there on the product and service side. And then what about what's going on in the industry? What's going on in your region? Like right now during this COVID-19 virus, as of today, Twitter and a lot of other large companies are saying, hey, we're going to work from home forever. Well, maybe you don't work for a company that has got to that point yet. So now you're going to think, wow, and I'm going to be losing candidates if my competitor is going to let everyone working from home, right? So maybe I start Googling things like, top 5 things I hate about working from home, or, do you not like working from home? And remember, what candidates Google kind of tells you what world they're in. So when people and teams ask me, what should I be sharing? Well, start with the candidate in mind, right? What would someone in your candidate world, right? Senior software engineers that live in Austin, what would they be Googling and thinking about when they're in this stage? I don't know. Find out. What about this stage? What about and that's what you will be sharing. And that's what you will be emailing, right? So it's not just about this. Hope that makes sense. When I publish the link, and it's going to be a free course, we can go into this in depth, and there'll be some exercises. But does that make sense? Why this is like, oh, the numbers that I showed you, those are real. You could do better. You could do worse, right? And it's all connected, of course. If you're not having a good intake session, if you're not having a sourcing strategy, and by the way, in the class, we're going to talk about not just sending one email. You're going to have to send 4 to 7. And that's going to sound ugly to a lot of you. Like, I already get in trouble for spamming now. What am I going to do sending, 3 or 4? Well, if you make an outreach plan where it's like, by the way, our director of this group, published this book. You want a free copy? Oh, by the way, we're going to be at this, event trying to solve this issue. In other words, it's not about a job. It's not about apply. It's going to try to find value in each part of these stages and then talk to them how they want to be communicated with. Okay. Sorry, I went on a little bit. Hey, if you like this, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. It gets me pumped up, right? Because that's my personality style, like helping. So please subscribe, and I will continue making these videos. Enjoy, and see you next time.